standing by waiting for them to actually get the race underway here. It's going to be 11 driver field here on the streets of Long Beach. And if you're just joining us, not too long ago, we actually ran a heat race or qualifying event for the race. It looked like HCCR Chum and Poke Gamer had two of the fastest sets of laps, not the fastest laps in the event, but it was TSL Velocity who took advantage of their starting position in the heat race, and now he will be the driver who will start today's event on pole. So, alright, it looks like we're about to go underway, ladies and gentlemen. You can see the entire... That was very weird. Don't know what happened there. You can see the grid being finalized for this event here. Alright, preparing to go underway. We will be following TSL Velocity here on this initial race start. And we are off here on the streets of Long Beach. So they're going to run real quick pace laps so that way everyone has a chance to get their tires nice and warmed up. And as we said before, these are front-wheel drive. All of these cars are front-wheel drive. They don't allow the Volvo, which is a rear-wheel drive car, into this series. So with everyone driving front-wheel drive machines, the vehicles have a lot more pickup on the short straightaways and coming right out of corners, but not as much straight-line speed. We don't expect to see anyone going above 150 at the end of the first straightaway. Also means that they burn through their front tires much faster, as those front tires do the work of both powering the car and steering. So, as we saw back at Laguna Seca, where the tires ended up burning up really fast, we expect a similar circumstance here at Long Beach. So once again, we look at our pole setter, TSL Velocity. This is his second pole of the season. His other pole also came out of Street Circuit right here. I'm sorry, not right here, but it was back at the streets of Prague, Circuit of Prague. And look at his tires for RBM Top Gear. We see his fronts are almost fully warmed up, but most interesting is going to be a competition between a second and third place starters. Coca Gamer has his tires fully warmed up, and then his chum, his tires are pretty close to being fully warmed up also. As our field begins to line up, gets a little bit behind the start-finish line. You can see some of the drivers in the back having a little bit of trouble getting properly sorted out, and you can see on the ticker up at the top what the official starting grid for today's event is going to be. Once again, Audis take the top 4 positions. And we are underway, and Velocity gets a late start, and that's going to enable Chum. Coco got a really late start. They're already 3 wide there for a second. Prius Killer jumps all the way up into second position right off the bat. In fact, Prius Killer looks like he's going to be able to compete with Chum heading into the first corner. As they go under braking, Chevy versus Honda. Chum gets sideways, Prius gets sideways, they both into the wall. Prius Killer bounces off the wall. He ends up spinning in front of the entire field. And we have another issue farther back in the field as RBM Top Gear has been involved in an incident with Dragger's X Ferrari. The two of them are finally about to start getting underway, but those vehicles more than likely are completely damaged. Yes, Dragger's X Ferrari's car is completely damaged right now, but meanwhile up at the front, Chummy Chum, he has the lead, and we're still under racing conditions for the moment. Coco Gamer, he got swarmed on both sides, and he fell from a third place starting position all the way to fourth. TSL Velocity started on the pole, but just got going late and has fallen all the way back to third. And once again, Jacob Variable and ACCR Chum are representing at the front of the field. So right at the start of the event, a very, very chaotic rundown on both ends of the track. Right now, Ludicrous Speed, who is also driving an Audi, is running in fifth. So it looks like we have Audis running first through fifth right now. Not for lack of trying, though. We saw a Chevrolet get right up to the front of the field. We're actually going to bring up the map real quickly so we can see where our damaged drivers are. Dragons X Ferrari is on the back straightaway. So here's Prius Killer. Prius Killer does not seem to have any significant damage despite the contact he made. So although he spun out early on, we see him already. Did something happen to TSL Velocity? Because now we see TSL Velocity falling all the way back. TSL Velocity seems to have gotten damaged somewhere. He's now dropped all the way back to the 9th position. And it looks like he might be falling even farther soon. So, and then RBM Top Gear is a little bit farther back. Top Gear is not having any damage. And here's Draggers X Ferrari. Draggers, there's so much damage on the front end of the car and on the drive line. He's back going underway again, but he's having a lot of trouble getting out of that final corner. He will finally come in and make his stop. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, though, Coco Gamer and Jacob Variable involved. We don't know what happened to TSL Velocity. We'll try to get word on that a little bit later. But now Jacob, who is Chum's teammate, is going to see if he can run interference just a little bit and keep Coco behind. Right now, the points gap is in favor of Chum, but only by 1 point heading into this event. Watch TSL Velocity. Yes, he will come in and pit as expected. And then we look back at Coca, who is currently third on the circuit. It's behind Jacob. So, the way the points are awarded in the series, the gap between first and third. Oh, and Ludicrous Speed bangs off the wall there in fourth. I'm not sure how much damage he has. He lost the spot to Hossboss. And yes, Ludicrous has also damaged his car after banging off the wall. He's going to hit the wall again now. And he may end up falling real rapidly through the field very shortly here. He's trying, you can see how twitchy the car is now with the front end downforce. The entire aerodynamics of the car, not to mention the steering and the driveline, very badly damaged. The brakes are out of whack, the springs are out of whack. You can just see the amount of damage as now he's gone from what was a respectable 4th place and was his first race. He's now in 5th and is anticipated to come in on this lap. And yes, Ludicrous Speed will pit. So meanwhile, Hossboss is now taking over 4th spot, driving the Chevy. So this is Chevy's best showing all season long. I'm sorry, I said Chevy. This is a Honda. Please forgive me. So this is this is not Honda's best show. Yeah, no, this is Honda's best showing actually. Although Dragons X Ferrari has earned a 4th place in the Honda prior, Hondas haven't yet taken a top spot. So or not top spot, a podium spot, and they've not led any laps this season, which wasn't given to them by pit strategy. So this may be a sign of things changing for the better for Honda. The saying is, it's just, and Hospas noses it into the wall, just as we were talking about how good everything has been going for him. He goes right into the wall, right in front of Prius Killer. He's now facing backwards compared to everyone else on the circuit. That car is completely destroyed, and he's sitting right in the apex of the corner. And we see now TJ drives by him. So the question is, has this put the field under caution or not? We see Chum has pitted out of first place. Jacob missed the pits at first by the looks of it. So all of our top three have all pitted now. Fourth place is Prius Killer. And Prius, it looks like he's going to inherit the lead now. But we are under caution. And something's happened to Drift Shot's RTG also, and the driver right behind him is Ludicrous Speed. Ludicrous is still in good condition, but because of the way the field's frozen, he's not allowed to overtake Drift Shots. And then here's Hospas, very slowly creeping along. And now we're stuck in a loading screen. That means more than likely someone may have lagged out of the event. And TSL Velocity has dropped out of the event. Our pole sitter has lagged out by the looks of it. We're going to try and get him in here and see what happened. So we are now under a red flag condition as the field is trying to get all properly gathered up at the moment. So everyone's come to a stop here on this shorter straightaway here, just past a little bit past the fountain corner. You see Drago's X Ferrari, who ended up taking the most damage in the first lap instant. He'll come around to the back of the field. He'll come here in 7th. So a very chaotic first 5 laps, as we've seen nearly half the field involved in instance. But our current leader, though, Prius Killer, he's been running a Chevrolet, so it's going to be very interesting. This is the first time that, although yes, because drivers in front of him pitted while he had not yet pitted, or drivers in front of him crashed when he had not yet crashed, it's still interesting seeing that not only is Chevy first, but Honda is currently running second, as we can't really see it because of Forza's camera system being dickish. There we are. And you can see the Honda of RBM Top Gear is second, and then third place, brand newcomer to the series, TTJ. He's the highest ranked Audi at the moment. And then fourth is Chum, who pitted just before the... I don't know why the hell he's rolling forward like this, though. Alright, it looks like we're about to go back underway. Yes, the entire field has caught back up. So we're going to finish out this lap before going underway here. So yes, Chum is going to be in 4th position. Alright. And we'll go green more than likely here on lap 7. And we saw our 3 leaders, Jacob Varble, Coco Gamer, and Chum, who's no longer with the HCCR team. So his name is now Chummy Chum, but Chum is our current points leader. And like I said, along with Jacob Varble and Coco Gamer, all 3 of them pit at the same time, but they have to get through another Audi, and then RBM Top Gear, who is known to be very aggressive on the track, and then Prius Killer, and this is the first time he's been having a good run all season long. Coming down. We're going to take green flag here. It will be lap 7. Realistically, lap 6, because the first lap shouldn't count, but by Forza standards, it's going to be lap 7. And we are off, underway here. And Chum is already making a move against TJ, and Jacob Varble and Coco Game are already in a battle there for 4th position. As they come, 5th position, as they come running down. Prius Killer is going to hold on to the top spot. Everyone forms up, and Prius Killer and Top Gear are still going to hold the top 2 positions. But meanwhile, in 3rd place, it's Chum. 4th is Jacob Varble, and 5th is Coco Gamer. Coca working aggressively, very aggressively, all over Jacob's rear bumper. At number 07, Johnny Walker machine. As they get hot under brakes, and now they dive forward. TJ has already dropped backwards through the field, so he does not seem to be as comfortable with his car as many of the other drivers. And our leader, Prius Killer, our race leader, noses into the tire barrier in front of the entire field. Absolute travesty, and now RBM Top Gear is our race leader, but he has to try and keep the lead in front of our points leader, Chum, as they're coming through the final few corners now, neck and neck. Chum is going to have the lane of choice. Top Gear locks it up. He's going to get trapped on the outside. And it looks like Chum is going to end up inheriting the lead. Top Gear is fighting back, though, and they're still side by side. He pulls down to try and get a side grab and pins Chum against that tight inside line here on the straightaway. It doesn't matter. Chum is going to go into the front, and now RBM Top Gear is going to have to slap back in line. In 2nd, Chum, that is exactly where he wants Top Gear to be, but now Top Gear is going to hold up Jacob Varble as they go into turn 1, and that brings Coco Gamer and Dragon's X Ferrari right back out to Jacob's rear bumper as they come around the mountain turn once again. Oh, and Dragon's X Ferrari bangs off the wall farther back there. And Coco once again looking very, very racy compared to Jacob there in the... And Jacob pushes Top Gear wide, so they're now side by side. Coco's got to look. He might try and make it 3 wide. He's not going to make it 3 wide, but they make contact. They make contact, and now Dragons is right there. They're neck and neck for 3rd, right behind RBM Top Gear. And Top Gear is not fast enough to hold them all off. There's 3 wide for his 2nd position. Dragons is all there looking at it. He gets 4 wide. 4 wide almost is ahead into the final corners now. Top Gear bounces off the wall, and he's got full out of this battle. But now Coco Gamer goes in front ahead of Dragon's X Ferrari, and Jacob Varble ends up stuck in the 4th position as everyone else gets by him. Coco Gamer nudges the inside wall. Dragon's X Ferrari right on, and now Coco Gamer is in 2nd, and this is his best chance to try and run down a race leader. Hey, excuse me. This is his best chance to run down our race leader, Chum, as they're going down the straightaway here. And Top Gear has gone ahead and pitted. I'm not sure if he had taken damage or not in the instant, but he did go ahead and pit. And Driftshot's RTG is in the wall now. He may have seen... Yes! Driftshot's RTG now has gone to the wall at the end of the straightaway, and he has significant damage. He's limping his car around, but more than likely he'll end up going a lap down simply because of all the time he'll lose, and he bangs off the wall again. And then a little bit ahead of him, Prius Killer, we saw him get away from it. He has a little bit of transmission issues, but that may just be due to poor shifting more than anything else. And he's running right behind TJ. Oh, and TJ. Oh, TJ round into the wall just as we were focusing on him. He's going to get back underway again. And I don't expect he'll lose his spot to drift shots, but that's not exactly what you want to see in your first race in the series. Sixth place is Ludicrous Speed. As you see him on the straightaway, he's kind of in an area where he's just racing by himself at the moment. But very strong running. Then Haas Boss, highest Honda in the field. Once again, Haas, it used to be Dragons X Ferrari was the best Honda in the field. Now Dragers has shifted over to Mercedes-Benz, and Haas Boss has taken over the reins as best Honda in the field. Speaking of Dragons X Ferrari, did Dragers change to Audi? I'm gonna be embarrassed. Yeah, so Dragos changed to... So Dragos qualified in the Mercedes-Benz machine, but it looks like he swapped over to Audi here at the last minute. So it is Audi 1, 2, 3, and 4. And Dragers is looking pretty racy compared to Jacob Varble right now. Speaking of which, here's Jacob. As we see him come onto the back straightaway now. And Dragers banes off the wall. Dragers is having trouble keeping everything straight. Coco Gamer has put down a lap 8/10 faster than HCCR Chum. So as we look now at our second place driver, Coco Gamer, who came into this race just 1 point out of the points lead with just 2 races to go, he's doing everything he needs to at the moment to try and run down HCCR Chum and take home that championship. We're now just past the 1/4 mark of today's event. Now, our top 3 drivers have all already... Actually, almost everyone in the field has already pitted, but we're going to look real quickly at Dragos X Ferrari, who had to pit on lap 1 due to damage taken in a first lap, first corner crash. We're going to go ahead and look at the tire wear on his machine, and it's going to be approximately the tire wear of everyone else who has not yet pitted, if not a little bit more. And we see he seems to also be having a little bit of issue with his transmission as he bounces off the wall. Haasboss is actually starting to run down Dragers as Dragers is falling off a bit as his tire wear continues to get him. But meanwhile, as we look at our front 3, though, their tires are in much, much better condition. So the question is going to be if Coco Gamer can actually catch our leader. And it looks like Haasboss is now taking over 4th place ahead of Dragos X Ferrari. I'm not sure if Dragers has damaged his car in some way. It doesn't look like it. It looks like he's just starting to fall off now. So it might end up being a race where tire wear comes into big play, much like we saw at Laguna Seca. Coco approximately 1.05 seconds. And we've tried to get in contact with TSL Velocity, our pole setter, but it's not worked out. So, for whatever reason, that knocked Velocity out of the event. We are sorry to hear that. And Mexico, which had such a strong presence in the series throughout the first 2/3 of it, now has no drivers left in today's event here, late in the season. So, as we continue to focus on our current race leader, Chum, with Coco Gamer behind him, pushing ever-living crap out of his car. He's at about 1.3 seconds back at the moment. Coca, very fortunate after RBM Top Gear ended up holding up Jake Varable ahead of him, and he was able to overtake both Top Gear and Jacob on a straightaway, and that put him into 2nd position. But the question now is if Coco can catch Chum. We saw him earlier. He was almost right at his rear bumper. He seems to have lost a little bit of time now. And Chum has gone back to putting down the fastest lap of the race. It was Coco earlier, but it's gone back to being Chum at the moment. A little farther back in the field now. This is Prius Killer, who's now dropped down to the 6th position. And just ahead of him is Dragers. And then behind him, you have Ludicrous Speed, who is driving one of the Audis in today's event. Ludicrous extends the track a little bit there. see that car gets really, really upset over the curbs. Then 8th place you have TJ, who is coming out of the fountain corner. 9th is RBM Top Gear, who was leading for a moment earlier after Haasboss was leading and crashed out of the top spot right in front of the entire field. Not Haasboss, Prius Killer. And then 10th is Drift Shots RTG. Drift Shots currently our last running driver on the track as we go ahead and bring up our track map. And to put things in perspective, how far back Drift Shots is, he's diving into turn 1 now as our leaders have already passed the start-finish line. And Coco Gamer has now gone back to putting down the fastest lap of the race. Once again, he's more than a half second faster than Chum. So right now, it's looking like our battle, these little setup between these top two. This is the most interesting battle right now, and both drivers seem to bang off the wall just a bit. Now, what may be happening is that their tires are starting to go away, so they're starting to have to they're having to drive their cars a little bit differently, both with the lightning fuel load and the tires starting to take some wear. So, and we see Coca really running wide. He's trying to use up as much track as possible. They're now into the straightaway here. He's right in Chum's draft, and we see Ludicrous Speed pitting in 8th place. But these cars do not go quite fast enough for the draft to play a massive effect. There is a little bit of advantage, especially if you're like riding right behind somebody at the end of the straightaway here. And Coca has caught right back up to Chum's rear bumper, and Chum gets some smoke coming out of those tires. Really aggressive on the green. Coca's cut down to about 9/10, but he's a little bit slower coming out of that final corner, and that gap will extend just a bit. All these drivers pitted, our top 3 all pitted around lap 5, and Coco Gamer still has the fastest lap of the race, about 0.3 of a second faster than Chum still. But Chum is opening up a gap once more. And you can see Coca pushing that machine right up out to the wall. And now Chum is running the line pretty similar to what Coca ran. And now here's Ludicrous Speed, who's running there in 10th. He's a lapped car after he pit. He will be a lapped car after he pit. Now, drivers are allowed to try and defend their spot on the lead lap if necessary. It's going to be interesting to see, as we're going to go ahead and run on board with our race leader Chum as he has to deal with lap traffic. We're looking around the back now at Coco Gamer. You can see Jacob Barble, his teammate, a little bit farther back. So Ludicrous Speed obviously had moved aside in order to not directly influence this battle here. As we look at him on the racetrack, he's already dropped behind Hosbos, as he didn't want to impact that potential battle for a lead. But as now we go back and look at our top drivers. And we saw Chum make a little bit of a mistake. He banged off the wall coming out of the fountain corner, and that let Coco Gamer close right up to him. So this right now is the closest this battle has been, and Coco still has the fastest lap of the event. Now in Dirty Air and right behind Chum. Now I'm not sure. I don't think he'll be setting down faster laps. Now at this moment it's going to be a matter of if he can make that move. Ooh, and Coco bangs off the wall there in second, and that's going to hurt his momentum. Let's see if he took any damage in that. As they're heading down that back straightaway, no sign of damage on Coco's machine. Now, regrettably, we can't really tell you what the condition of his tires are at, but he did pit around the same lap. He did pit on the exact same lap as Chum, so it's expected that the two of them will have pretty even tire wear. And now Chum is caught in drift shots here on the straightaway. It's going to be interesting to see if drift shots gives up the spot to not influence this battle, or if he ends up trying to hold on to his lead, to a spot on the lead lap. Going to braking. Drift shots is going to defend for the moment at least. And Chum is now caught. Alright, drift shots runs wide, but Coco got right in. That actually enabled Jacob to close in just a little bit. Not enough to directly influence, but there is a little bit in the time charts to say that Jacob was able to close in a bit. Now, he'll probably lose that as he gets back around drift shots. And Coco Gamer continues to stalk Chum. If they were to finish where they were right now, Chum's point gap would extend to 7 points compared to the 1 that he started with. The gap really seems to open and close almost like an accordion. We've seen several times Coco get right up to Chum's rear bumper, and he'll run right there on him for several laps, and then all of a sudden Chum will just start getting things put together, or at least put them together a little bit better than Coco will, and then Chum ends up opening up a small gap of almost 200 feet by the time, almost 250 feet by the time they end the straightaway. Right now the gap in time is about 9/10, and they go into braking here. And Coco also seems to just be hitting the wall every now and then. Not extreme, it's not damaging the car, but it's definitely slowing his laps down just a bit. So I wonder if that's one of the main reasons, if that is one of the, if not the main reason why he keeps losing time to Chum, and then finally he gets it all together and starts putting down flyer laps, ends up riding him down and gets right up to his rear bumper. And now Chum bounces off the wall actually that time. So right now our leader put down 125.2, the most recent lap. Coco has put down a faster single lap, but overall it seems like Chum still has the fastest average lap under green. A little farther back in the field now. We see Prius Killer coming out of the pits as he's made his stop, so he will also go a lap down now. So right now it seems like the two leaders are really the only battle taking place right now, and the gap's pushed out to about 1.2 seconds between first and second. I want to talk real quickly about our third place driver, Jacob Variable. Now, Jacob has been having a relatively decent season, and it looks like our race leader Chum has actually put down laps almost as fast as Coke's fastest lap earlier. But Jacob has been having a decent season. He's had several runs in races where he probably should have won it, but it's just not worked out due to mistakes, either not judging track limits right, poor pit strategy. But much like TSL Velocity, who lagged out earlier, Jacob has had several events that should have been his, and it's ended up falling apart. This is a little farther back, Dragons X Ferrari. I thought I saw a battle going on here, so forgive me for that. But as we continue to watch Jacob, and Jacob, here it is, 2 races left in the season. Once again, it looks like he's going to bring home a podium. But much like Kimi Raikkonen's years at Scuderia Ferrari in the V6 era, it looks like it's just not going to work out for him right now. Jacob might have the, and it looks like our race leader Chum has actually caught lap traffic again, so it's going to be interesting to see if the lap traffic moves aside from its Prius killer, who was actually leading earlier. But the fates have changed here, and about the halfway point of the race, he's now trying to hold on to the lead lap. It's going to be interesting to see, though, if he lets Chum by or not. No, he's going to hold on to that inside line. And Dragons X Ferrari noses into the wall right in front of them all. And Prius Killer is going to go ahead and let Chum take the top spot now. Oh, and Prius Killer bangs off the wall. So I wonder if there may be something wrong with his car. TJ has also made his stop now. And now Coca Gamer has finally caught up to Prius. Now with Draggers hitting the wall right in front of Coca, it forced Coca to check up. So, yes, Chum was held up a bit by Prius, but not nearly as much as Coca was by Draggers. Now Prius moved immediately out of the way for Coca, but the gap is still about 1.5 seconds between our top 2 drivers. So, unless Coca tries to do maybe a undercut with the pits, it looks like Chum might be able to sell off with the victory here. And Prius bangs off the wall now. So the gap between almost everyone who's still on the lead lap is about seconds each. And Jacob continues to be held up now by Prius. Now Coca's cut the gap down just a bit. It's down to about 1.3 seconds when it was 1.5. But he can't be afforded to do that. He needs to get right on Chum, get Chum antsy, and have him make a mistake. We saw earlier Chum did just that. He ended up nosing into the wall coming out of the fountain corner right here. But he needs Chum to keep making those mistakes so that way Coca can actually get right there and maybe move by. We're not really seeing that at the moment. Gap's down to about 1.2 seconds now. Oh, and Coco bangs this off the wall once again. And Drift Shot seems to have taken damage, or something may have happened to that car. Yeah, Drift Shot's machine is completely destroyed, and it looks like TJ is here trying to get him pushed forward at the moment. Now, on the track compared to the rest of the field, they're still not quite to the back straightaway, while our leaders are already on the front stretch. And Chum has gone back to putting down the fastest lap of the event. But yeah, you can see Driftshot's machine is completely, utterly destroyed right now. And TJ's doing his best to try and push him down this back straightaway here and hopefully get a close racing buddy of his. Both these drivers have history in the NX1 CS and the IESE GT series. And right now, it's a matter of trying to help Driftshots get around and repair that machine. So yeah, Driftshots will bang off the wall right there, but it looks like he's going to have enough momentum that he'll be able to coast it into the pit lane right here. We see him come in, so that's it. So Driftshots will be out of the way of the rest of the field as they come by. And now RBM Top Gear is currently ranking 5th. It's the highest Honda in the group right now, if memory serves correctly, right? No, Haasboss is. But RBM Top Gear will be the next driver that will go a lap down. But right now, our top 4 drivers are all relatively close to each other on the racetrack, time-wise, compared to the rest of the field. And although Chum is putting down some of the fastest laps of the event, in fact, he's put down 124.271, and he bangs off the wall again there. So that's the second time he's made that mistake, but Koka's fallen to 1.9 seconds back. I don't think Koka's close enough to really be able to capitalize on that and get right to Chum's rear bumper. So let's go ahead and look at the tire wear, and you can see Chum, those front tires are already at 59, nearly 60% wear. I have a feeling that's one of the main reasons he made that mistake, is that his tires are just starting to go away from him now. But Coco Gamer in second, who's about 2 seconds out now, he's having the exact same problem. Chum, Coca, and Jacob, like I said earlier, they all pitted at about the same time, which is roughly lap 4. So now I'm kind of wondering, is Chum going to try and run to the end of this event without stopping? Because there is one mandatory stop. Or is he going to go ahead and pit? And if he does pit, when is he going to pit? Well, we know this much. Coco Gamer and Jacob Barble have both pitted right now. Haasboss is in second. He's running the fountain corner. The question is, when is Chum going to pit? And when is Coco going? And where will he come out compared to Coco Gamer when that happens? So right now the gap is about 4,500 feet between first and third. 5,000 feet now. Chum, his tires are about 63%. So you have to wonder how much longer he's going to stay out before he finally pits. Because now he's on tires in worse condition than second and third place drivers. He's going to stay out another lap here. So right now, Coco Gamer is just about to enter the back straightaway as Chum is going through the fountain corner. And now Haasboss is pitted at second position, and it's expected that once his stop is completed, both Jacob and Coca will very easily overtake him. But still, Haasboss, congratulations to him. It doesn't look like he's going to get a podium, but still, he's going to be fourth in what's going to be the best showing for the Honda team, because not only has he been fourth, he's been running with our top 3 Audi drivers all race long, outside of a little bit of incident early on. So Haasboss even went very competitive on the very first lap. Haas came into this race, he said that he really believed he was going to win it. It doesn't look like he's going to win, obviously, but he's had a very, very competitive drive in a car that almost everyone would agree is of lesser quality compared to the Audis. Now he'll jump over the curbs there. So now we look back at our race leader, HCCR Chum. Chum is going to stay out another lap, and he's going to go ahead and put Top Gear a lap down now. So now there are only 4 drivers on the lead lap. And there's approximately 50 seconds between our first place driver and our second place driver. Chum, he's burned his tires down to about 2/3 of their total life. So I can't imagine Chum's going to stay out on this set of tires. He's going to probably end up burning them down by around lap 35, if not lap 40. I'm sorry, not 40. Lap 35, if not sooner, if he keeps up at this rate. But at the same time, he must feel really, really confident in his abilities with this worn set of tires, that he won't make any major mistakes, damage the car or anything. If he does damage the car with worn tires, if he bangs off a wall or something, the race is basically screwed for him. But we're not seeing any evidence that it's going to happen, and more than likely, I imagine Chum may come in and pit this lap. Yes, so Chum pits now. So the question is, where is he going to come out in relation to Coco Gamer? Coco Gamer, because we have him highlighted on the map. Actually, we're going to look at Coco right now. We're following Coco. And on the map, you can see the number 1 is Chum, and the number 2 is Coco Gamer. Where's Coco going to, where's Chum going to come out in the field in relation to Coco Gamer? We see Chum moving on pit lane. This is a relatively long pit straight. Look, this coming to the final sets of corners now. RBM Top Gear now has his lap back. Coco rounds out of the final corner. He bangs off the wall just a little bit. Chum is just ahead of him. Several more drivers are going to get their laps back. You can see Chum, he's already back onto the track. He's merging back on. He has to get cold tires warmed up. Coco Gamer is second. Will Chum make a mistake? And if he does, will it be enough of a mistake to enable Coco to grab him? Chum is caught behind the lap traffic of Drift Shots RTG once again. The gap between first and second has opened to about 2.6 seconds, so Chum may have made a good choice to continue to stay out. And Chum is going to work his way by Drift Shots now. The gap's about 2.2 seconds now. But Coco will also have to worry about Drift Shots. Lucas speed up ahead in 7th. So he will more than likely get lapped again, and Drift Shots will pull aside and enable Coco Gamer to pass him without too much of an issue by the looks of it. Yeah. And right now, the main reason we're focusing on this is because there's not much of a battle going on anywhere else on the track. Right now, Ludicrous Speed and Dragger's X Ferrari are close to each other, but Dragger's is a whole nother lap down compared to Ludicrous. Is Dragger's going to move over for Chum? That's our new question now. And Dragger's X Ferrari just runs right off the track in order to not even remotely affect anything. Jacob now has a whole bunch of lapped cars between him and Coco, and now Chum bounces off the wall just a bit. The gap's still about 2.5 seconds between our first and second place drivers. Oh no, this is Haasboss. Haasboss is third. Where is... So Jacob somewhere must have either hit a wall or something. So Haasboss is in third place and might actually be in a position to bring home the first podium spot for a Honda. So that was a hell of a development I missed, obviously. Again, right on board with Chum once again for this lap. Our race is a bit over 3/4 of the way over as we're now entering our final stages. You can see even with the lap traffic of ludicrous speed, it's not allowing Coco to close in much. Well, actually, Coco did close in a little bit. He cut off about 4/10, but the gap is still hanging around 2 seconds between our first and second place drivers. So, and it looks like Chum's going to try and look to maybe overtake Ludicrous here. And yeah, so that now looks like it's basically over. So Ludicrous closed the gap between Coco and Chum a bit, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough that's actually going to affect the outcome of the race. The gap is still about 1.9 seconds. And TJ's paying again for... Oh, and Ludicrous Speed bangs into the wall just in front of Coco Gamer. I don't think Coco's going to have an issue getting by. It doesn't look like Coco has any issue getting by, but still. And Dragon's X Ferrari and Drift Shots have both pulled off the circuit. I'm not sure if there was an incident between them. And yes, so it looks like Draggers is trying to get Drift Shots pushed into the pit lane. So I'm not sure what happened to Drift Shots there, but either way, good sportsmanship between two drivers who for a long time were very, very intense and bitter rivals. I pull up the map once more, and just to give perspective for everyone, our leader is here, second is just here, third and fourth. So once again, our top 3 drivers, all relatively close. Almost always they're on the same straightaway as each other, but they're not close enough to really ever make moves against each other. And then for our 4th place driver, he's RBM Top Gear, just now across the start-finish line. More than likely, Top Gear will finish on the lead lap, though. Looks like Dragons Ferrari is having a little bit of an issue right now. He may have taken damage in that little bane off the wall. Yes, it looks like he has, so... Once again, Draggers, this has not turned out to be a good day for him. You can see the steering angle for that car extremely awkward right now as he's trying to round the final few corners. We look once more at our race leader, Chum, here in these waning laps of the event. It's looking like Draggers might end up finishing a regretful 4 laps down after multiple incidents throughout this entire event. But we currently have 6 drivers all on the lead lap. So that's better than earlier. Earlier it looked like we were only going to have maybe 3 or 4, but right now looks like it's not going to be the case. And Chum has opened it up to nearly 3 seconds over Coco Gamer. So unless Chum makes a very significant mistake here these final 6 laps, it looks like it's going to be his race to lose. And by that matter, his championship to lose. Because the next race will be at Bathurst. It will be 7 points between Chum and Coca. Now, when you look at the point standings, the way the points are awarded, first place earns 72 points, second place earns 66 points. I'm only going to read out to about 10th, because typically I don't imagine we'll have many more than 10 drivers show up in our final event at Bathurst. But typically, first place would earn 72 points, second place would earn 66 points, third place would earn 60 points, fourth place would earn 55, fifth place would earn 50, sixth place would earn 45, seventh would earn 40, 8th would earn 36, 9th would earn 32nd, and 32, and 10th would get 28 points. So, for Chum, this is under the assumption he doesn't make a mistake, and him and Coca finish where they are right now. It will be a 7-point gap. That would mean that basically Chum, as long as he finished at least 1 spot ahead of Coca, or just 1 spot behind, if he could finish just 1 spot behind Coca, even, he would lock up the championship. So... Coming down, it's now going to be 5 laps to go as across the line as Chum has put down another sub 125 second lap. The gap has shrunk just a bit to about 2.5 seconds between first and second. But that may just be Chum easing it up just a bit so that way he doesn't end up making any silly mistakes here. No need to push extremely hard this late in this event. If anything, Coca has every intention to push, I guarantee it. He's cut down to about 2.4 seconds there for a moment, but Coca's also now has a higher chance of making a mistake. We're going to bring up the map one more time. Next driver on the track that they might run into would be Prius Killer, who is coming down the back straightaway, and that's a big if they're actually going to reach him. Assuming that no one else ends up... That's basically assuming that no one else ends up crashing in a way where they pit, and when they come out of the pits, they'll be right in front of Chum. And once again, I want to talk about Haasboss. This is absolutely fantastic, the work he's put in today. Coming up to this event, he said several times he thought he was going to win it. His lap times, as we look up here at the stats, we'll look at the map and we'll look at the player at race stats. He's actually had the fastest straight line speed in today's event. And then even as we bring up the lap times, as everyone goes by, his best lap is roughly a 1.20. His best lap is within the 124s also. So Haasboss has been putting on a very, very stunning show, and I would love to be able to talk to him, as it looks like he's going to round out the podium today, assuming no mistakes are made on his part in the final laps. And then Coco Gamer, just so much effort and work with so little time left. Practice on and off throughout this entire week. And here it is, just next to last race, he had the gap in the points closed down to just 1 second. I mean, not 1 second. 1 point in a gap, and now he's seen it starting to open right back up. So a very, very disappointing run on his part. Well, not disappointing on his part, but more disappointing in circumstance, all things considered. Oh, and Coco bangs off the wall now. Just, he's pushing so hard. He's actually put down the fastest lap now, almost a 124 flat. And he's cut the gap down to sub 2.5 seconds. But now that he's hit the wall, I think he's kind of, not saying this in a negative way, but I think he's sort of running out of talent here in the final events. So, as we look right back here at Chum, we'll take a look at his tire wear. He's a little bit more than a third of the way through his tires at the moment. Alright, so it looks like he may actually end up catching lap traffic here. So yeah, it looks like he's going to end up catching Driftshot's RTG one more time, possibly, as our leader is going to come down here with 2 laps to go. Driftshot is 3 laps down, fighting not to become 4 laps down at the moment. That's another interesting thing about this race. We've had a lot of accidents, but most of them have been single car incidents, and because of that, it's just been drivers, single car incidents and drivers limp around the track, and it's all been a matter amongst everyone who's not in the top 3. It's been a matter of where has everyone crashed and how long it takes them to limp around the circuit. And we've seen several times drivers have had to be pushed by others to try and move up through the field. And it looks like Driftshots is actually caught Prius Killer here in speed, but he's so many more laps down compared to him that it won't be any sort of real battle between the two. More of a battle in placement. Now, Driftshots does have a competitor on track that he could run against. That's TJ, who's about 4 or 5 seconds ahead of Prius. But I don't imagine, unless TJ makes a mistake, I don't imagine it's going to challenge anything. And now, so Prius is going to move right away, right aside for Chum. And TJ has made a mistake by the looks of it. But it doesn't matter, he's still a whole nother lap down compared. Alright, it looks like everyone's going to go ahead and move right by Chum. I mean, let Chum move right by them, and now Coco Gamer is going to catch them all. And now Coco Gamer is going to fall to a 2 3/4 second gap here on this final lap. Now, the gap between second and third is basically opened up also to the biggest it's been all day long as it comes by here. looking in terms of seconds, is about 6.6 seconds. So Haasbos isn't quite as close to the top 2 as he has been, but again, it's been absolutely wonderful showing by Haasbos. For a long time, we thought it was going to be Draggers who would end up giving the first non-Audi a podium, but it seems very obvious now it's going to end up being Haasbos. Excuse me! As long as nothing strange happens here in these final laps. And now Coca, you see he's stuck behind Prius Killer and TJ, as the 2 of them are trying to work out track position between the 2 of them in this final lap. So as we look back to the front of the field, it's Chummy Chum, Formula 1's HCCR Chum. He's going to round the final corner. No issue. He gets on the gas, spits out a little tire smoke. He's going to come home and take another victory and extend his points lead here in the WTCC series. And now in second place, probably the most interesting guy to watch all day, Coca Gamer. And in third place, Haasbos is going to come home right after him. And now this is where everything's going to get interesting because there's so many massive gaps in the field. It's going to take a long time. Jacob Varble is going to finish 4th by the looks of it. There's nothing to show. There's no reason to believe that Jacob won't be able to finish 4th. And you can see on the ticker up top just how far back a lot of these drivers actually end up finishing this race. Lucas Speed a lap down, TTJ 2 laps down, Drift Shots RTT 3 laps down, Dragons X Ferrari 4 laps down, and now Jacob Varable actually spins out just to show off, I guess. He doesn't have any real reason to worry. He is basically locked in to finishing 4th, no issue there. And then we look at 5th place. This is RBM Top Gear. Now Top Gear is, it looks like he is a lap down. Yeah, he's a lap down. And he's actually going to bang off the wall. Okay, so Prius Killer actually is going to get by Top Gear. I didn't realize they were on the same lap. Okay. But yeah, it looks like Prius Killer, he'll be the first driver to finish a lap down in this event. We're going to go ahead and try and talk with HCCR Chum now. Oh, not Chum. Chummy Chum now. See what he has to say on another very strong victory here. And then we also want, there are a lot of drivers obviously we want to talk to. This is a interesting event to say the least. And joining the party with us right now, we have Chummy Chum Chum, Chummy Chum Chum. Okay, whatever. I should not start trying to sing, but Chum, congratulations on another victory and an extension of your points lead heading into the final season event. What do you have to say?
Oh, not much. It was a pretty good race. It was just keeping pace. I really expected there to be another caution, but surprisingly there was only one, so that's kind of weird. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it was a good race.
So when it came down to it, at any point did you really think that you had a chance of losing the race to Coco Gamer, who during the midsection of the event we saw he was right on your ass?
Not really. Because at that point, the reason he caught me so much was because I started saving my tires a lot, which let me pit a little bit later, which ended up helping. So, yeah.
Okay, so I don't know if you remember, but take us back to that initial start where it was you versus TSL Velocity there on the initial start of the race. And when the green flag fell, you just fucking launched it. And then all of a sudden, like, everyone behind you seemed to get an even better run. Like, what was going on there?
Just trying not to get taken out first corner. Because, I mean, just as soon as it bunches up, it just raises the percentage of disaster, so...
What?
Kind of scary.
Okay.
But, I mean, it ended up
Nothing.
well.
Nothing.
Alright, well, you hear it right here, folks. Chummy Chum is a little bit muted today. A victory that was kind of business as usual. So now heading into Bathurst, though, you have a 7-point lead. What's your strategy going into the season finale?
Just don't crash, because I usually crash there. So just calm. Just be calm, because I don't need to win it. I just need to finish at least the position behind Coca. So, yeah.
Alright.
Pretty much that.
Well, alright, you heard it here, folks. That's Chum, and now we want to talk to our second place finisher on the podium, and we see drivers who aren't finished yet, just kind of fucking around right now. But second place finisher, second step on the podium, Coco Gamer. Coca, you qualified third, finished second. You ended up with the fastest lap of the race. Everything you did as good as you could, but it just wasn't enough, right?
Yeah. So it's just I mean, throughout the entire race, I was catching up to Chump, but what the heck? Oh, that's just an AI. Sorry. So anyway, I mean, I was catching up to Chum all day, and you know, I can't thank Alan and Drift Shots enough for sort of helping with me. They did as well as they could to hold up Jacob and Chum. I mean, that really did help me out, and yeah, I'd like to thank them a lot. But yeah, it's just like, I mean, Long Beach is unforgiving, and I made multiple mistakes, even though I set the fastest lap and qualified third and moved up to second. I made too many mistakes, and I ended up in second. So, I mean, hopefully I can change that up for Bathurst, which is one of my favorite circuits. So, yeah. But, I mean, at the very ending, you know, it really makes me mad that even the person, a part of my team, makes a silly mistake, which could have, I mean, it's just kind of risky what he did. It's just goes into the tire barrier and gets me collected. I get damage, yet I still finish second. You know, it just kind of makes me a little upset, and yeah, I don't want to see that happening next race.
Alright, I also really quickly want to talk about a very, very crazy event that we noticed after the restart for the only caution in the event. You were fighting with Jacob Variable for third position, and RBM Top Gear had just lost the lead to Chum. And then coming onto the straightaway, the two of you had to try and split Top Gear both ways, and then Dragon's X Ferrari was right there with you. Like, did you have a plan going into that, or was that just seat of your pants? What? Like, take us through that moment. That's probably the most impressive moment we've seen all season long.
Well, yeah, we went 3 wide down the back straightaway at Long Beach, which is very crazy. But you see, what I was trying to do is when I was down that, like, near the end of that straightaway, I was on the inside of Top Gear, and I was like, maybe I can try to sneak through on the inside or something by sliding right past him. Well, that wasn't. I had to switch over to Plan B, which was to sort of confuse him, as in like, oh, I have to leave room on the inside or something for me. And, well, I just pulled out at the very last second. And because of that, Prius has already booked it for the corner. Or wait, no, sorry, Top Gear has already booked it for the corner. And he goes wide, which slows down Jacob. And then maybe a little bit of Draggers because he might have been confused. So that put me in front of Jacob, which really helped me out with this race because I just really needed to get around Jacob in order to be in winning contention. So, yeah.
All right. Well, you did a good job taking care of Jacob, and it was interesting seeing you try and run down Chum, and
Yeah.
hopefully the two of you can put on a hell of a championship show next race in the final race of the series. And now we want to talk to the final driver who is on the podium, not a championship contender, but absolutely amazing, Hospas. I'm going to be very honest. This was probably the most impressive drive I've seen by a single driver all season long when you consider the entire race. I know you came in, you kept saying, I'm going to win Long Beach, I'm going to win Long Beach. Your best lap times were not that far off the leaders, and in the end, you finished third. And it wasn't even like you barely finished third, like, you were so far ahead. How did you do that? Because you're not even in the dominant Audis. You took a podium in a Honda. How did you do that?
I actually swapped a new tune for this race, and it actually turned out to be like one of the probably the key reasons why I caught up or stayed behind them mainly. I did not think I'd get past Jacob, but then I basically just took third from him and just tried to stay in it the whole time. But Chum and Coco were just taking off from me the whole time, and like I was trying so hard to catch up to them, and I just couldn't. But that was a great race.
Yeah. Haas, at one point, if my memory serves correctly, you qualified in the 5th position, and yet you were competing also for the lead heading into turn 1. Like, run down that start for us.
Oh yeah, I just went for it. I knew that I looked at the tune right before I went out on the track practicing before the race, and I saw that my braking was just incredibly better than the previous tune I had on. So I just kind of went for it and just knew I'd be fine, but hopefully I didn't take anybody out. I don't think I did, so.
Yeah. Haas, like, I cannot say enough, like, congratulations at taking home the first podium for a non-Audi manufacturer. That's absolutely impressive. I'm sure if things went a little differently, you could honestly have competed for even second or possibly first, but seriously, like, great job, man.
Thank you so much. I'm hoping the next race, I can get up high in the ranks again and go against Chum and Coca again and Jacob. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Also, speaking of Jacob, we have him in the party with us, Jacob Variable. You came home 4th, although it looked like for a while you were going to be 2nd. What happened?
Yeah, just whenever I pitted with Coca, I had cold tires, and then around like a couple laps, I just ran into the wall and got damaged. The car was running fine, but under braking, it was moving to the right a little bit, so I just thought it was better to pit instead of losing time of trying to fight the car over. But I was looking for a 3rd or 2nd place finish today, but it didn't end up happening. But I made up a lot of places after getting out of the pits. I think I got out in 6th or 7th place. Made up a lot of time from that, though.
All right, well, anything else in general you want to say as we approach the season finale at Bathurst?
Can't wait for Bathurst. It's gonna be hectic.
All right, well, there's our 4th place finisher, Jacob Variable, and now we also want to go ahead and see if we can top. We were not able to get in contact with Prius Killer, regrettably, but we are able to talk real quickly with Top Gear, who came home in the 6th position. And Top Gear, you actually were one of the few drivers who only stopped once in the event. How did that work out for you?
It went pretty well until my tires were shot at 95% on the second to last right-hander. That's when Prius caught me and passed me. But apart from that, the car was really strong. I was running probably maybe 126s for most of the race, and then I only started running 27s and 28s when my tires were on 80%. I know if I went into the pits, I would become a lot further back, so I kind of gambled it. But again, sixth place with 100% tires at the end, I'll take it. That's like one of the best races I've ever had.
So, heading into the season finale at Bathurst, do you think you can do anything with your Honda Civic? We now seen with Haasboss that obviously Hondas can compete for the podium. Do you think this is might be your best chance at maybe even a podium or even a win?
Yes, because Bathurst is like one of my strongest tracks of in any car. It's my strongest track, and the Honda is really strong in the streets. So I think I can even battle with Chum maybe on this one. Possibly.
All right.
VTech rules.
All right. Well, we can hear a lot of enthusiasm and voice there from Top Gear. Anything else you can say before we go on to someone else?
I hope to see the top 3 have a really close points battle. I doubt I'm gonna win the championship, but good racing in the championship so far, and I hope to see a good season next time too.
All right. Well, that's RBM Top Gear, and also we were able to talk to our 8th place finisher, TTJ. TJ, first race of the series. You barely didn't even know about the series until a few minutes before it started. What do you feel about your end result?
So basically,
All right.
I had to, long story short, car and a tune and a track that I don't ever go into. It's pretty bad, just because, you know, I didn't know about the series, anything like that. So got the details, joined up on it. I mean, it was just fun. It was basically the way I thought the race was going to go for me. I mean, it was fun. That's the only thing I can really say about that.
All right. Well, anything else in general you want to say before moving on to someone else? Excuse me.
Yeah. You got to give props to these the guys that run these cars and are great in them. They're difficult, but they're pretty fun. But yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, that's your 8th place finisher and first-time star TTJ. Also, want to talk to Dragons X Ferrari and Drift Shots RTG. So, interesting, hilarious how about a year, well, not even a year, but like half a year ago, the two of you are like some of the most fierce rivals on track, and now we see the two of you pushing each other to try and get to the pits. What were your guys' races like?
Shit.
Sounds about right.
You should have broke so early into the first corner, Draggers, and you want to get damaged.
Oh, that was your fault. Who's the one who hit me?
All right,
Nico
well,
Rosberg.
anything in general, do the two of you think you may have a better chance at Bathurst, despite the fact that it's even more technical and challenging track?
Probably if my car works there and doesn't for some reason decide to just die every corner. But whatever it is. I'm going straight to Audi on that one because that is a horrible handling car.
Also, I want to congratulate you for being the most laps down that anyone has been an entire race long.
Thanks,
4
mate.
laps down by the time the leader took the checker. So, congratulations both of you for that.
He's already a lap down by lap
thanks.
3.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Alright, so hey, season finale. Anything in general you want to say, or?
I want a decent car.
Alright, well, you heard it here, folks. Alright, that's everyone we've been able to... that's everyone we've been able to get in contact with. So, yeah. So, until next time, I've been Sane Leader 13. And, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the 2018 and 2019 World Touring Car Series.
Good job.
See you next time.
Yeah, my car gets down to 166. I still have more